Hey, hey,
Hey,
hey, hey, hey. Yeet.
Yeet. Welcome everybody. Today is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful fall day, autumn day. I don't know. It's beautiful outside. The trees are changing. The weather is changing. I'm changing. We're all changing. Change is the only constant.
But
Am
the
I
only
right?
thing that is not changing is this show. Hello, welcome to Drunk on Knowledge.
Exactly. We're back. It's Thursday. So
This is episode 20.
if you didn't know already, episode 20. That's pretty special. So how about that? We're gonna cheers to episode 20. Clink. I've got a bottled water, so it didn't make a lot of noise.
So we had to make it for.
Okay, jumping right in. So Christmas decor? That's not right. What?
So today we wanted to do something kind of like, I don't know, I wouldn't say this is a very talked about topic.
Not really.
We
I
kind of
thi-
made it on
it's-
our own.
It's like in the background of a lot of conversations, but we're bringing it to the foreground for you guys.
Yes, so the whole idea between when things get political. We were listening to a podcast and it doesn't really matter, but they were talking about how milk is such a it's very politic-like.
There's lots of
I don't know how
dairy
to
is
word
very
it.
political. Like even like cheese, milk, cream cheese, like all of the dairy products are very political in that they're used for political gain. They're used for swaying the public, things like that. And that's another thing. Today we're using the word political pretty loosely.
Yes.
It's not just within government. It's also with public works and such things. So yeah, today we're talking about when things get political, whatever that may be in. So we have things we're going to be talking about like music. We got
I'm talking
some
about drag, MMA,
all kinds
just like
of
a
stuff.
bunch of stuff. And when I was doing my research, I didn't realize how, like, it was so in the background, and we didn't really know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's in the background of almost every conversation.
maybe some of you guys out there realize that, but I definitely didn't.
Yeah, researching it sheds more light on it, but it kind of is commonsensical to me that there's politics in the background because, I mean, your personal politics are always in the back of your mind, you know, and so when you're talking, your political views get intertwined and, you know, things like that. But with other things like with like the dairy thing and some other things, it's a lot less in your face, I think.
Yeah, it's very hidden, I feel. People do a really good job at hiding it.
Exactly.
Oh, and by the way, what really like shocked us with the whole dairy thing while we're on that topic, you know, it's always shoved in our face, at least if you're from America,
Mhm.
that it's like you need milk to grow
You
strong
need
bones. The whole Got Milk campaign was like a big thing. And what researchers have found is that other countries where that is not like a prevalent thing that they drink or even really care about.
They actually have less bone disorders than we do here in America.
Yes. So it's like there's no way it could be milk. That is like whatever making us have strong bones or whatever.
Yeah, boy, they got studies.
But it's like it was shoved in our face and it's like, but why though?
But why though?
'Cause politics, man.
Because politics.
They just want our money.
That's all they want. And it's interesting because money is behind a lot of the things that we will be talking about today. Not everything, but a lot of things. So why don't you start
You
us
want me to
off,
start?
my friendo, with
What am I
drum roll.
saying?
Drum roll.
I'm going to start off with the most recent UFC fight.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the McGregor versus, I don't know how to say his last name, so I'm just going to say Khabib. Conor and Khabib.
Conor and Khabib. That's a new show.
So I didn't really know the beef behind what was going on and whatnot. And like, I'm not a big fan of the UFC, so just like bear with me here.
Okay.
So back in the day, they kind of used to be friends. They'd be like, oh yeah, we should train with each other. We should like, you know, meet up and do whatever with each other. And that all changed when Conor McGregor went down to 155, which made him in the lightweight category where Khabib was.
Yep.
And then that's when Conor and his trainer started talking a bunch of shit to Khabib, and this is where the politics comes in, because McGregor is someone who makes a lot of money for the UFC, and so it's not uncommon for people to start shit talking each other if they want to fight or whatever, because it just causes more drama. It gets people to want to buy the pay-per-view. It makes people want to go to the fight and see it and just like live for that drama. This is like guys' version of drama.
Yeah, it's real life drama for dudes.
So what Khabib's whole problem has been is that the things that they were bringing up religion, family, like personal ass stuff.
Not cool.
Yeah, and where Khabib says he comes from, that's not cool. That's like street talk. Like, if you want to come and fight me, like, let's go. And something that Khabib brought up is that they always want to talk shit when Khabib is injured or anything like that. But when Khabib is fine, like, come on, let's do it, you know? And it's funny because McGregor was all like, oh, no, I don't want to fight Khabib. He doesn't show consistency and all that kind of stuff. But then, like, Khabib went after him, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so things were getting really, really, like, heated between them. And that's when the whole...
Fake friend.
That's when the whole bus incident happened. I don't know if you know about this.
No, I don't know about the bus.
He, like...
I heard something about a chair.
Okay, so Khabib, he went to go and find one of McGregor's friends who was talking smack about him, about Khabib.
Yeah.
So he's like, say it to my face. Like, why are all these fighters, like, talking shit and they won't say it to my face? Like, come at me. And so, like, him and his friends kind of jumped him. And then...
Wait, Khabib and his homies jumped?
Khabib and his homies jumped Conor McGregor's friend.
Oh, man.
Like, someone that he trains with all the time.
Dang.
And whatnot. And so Conor went off and, like, flew to wherever Khabib was fighting and, like, went to go and try and find him. But it's funny because he only, like, really flexes in front of cameras.
Yeah.
And when there's security involved. So, like, Khabib was in the bus and he threw... Was it a chair? Or I heard it was, like, a dolly, you know?
Oh, it might have been a dolly.
I really don't know. He threw something big
at
the bus.
Ooh.
And I heard that someone got hurt and just, like, it was just a really big thing. And then, so fast forward to the future when they're actually going to fight. Khabib won, but he, like, got out of the ring and started tried to attack Conor McGregor's trainer.
No, he did.
He did?
He knocked him out.
I didn't see what happened.
Oh, man.
But Dana White, who is the...
like, UFC...
Yeah.
Like, top dog.
Yeah, he's the UFC face, pretty much. He's just saying, like, he doesn't know what's going on and whatnot. Like, he doesn't know what's going to happen. And, you know, is Khabib going to be stripped from this title of being the lightweight champion or whatever? And so where the politics comes in through this whole story is the whole, like, creating drama for no reason. Yep. And, like, being in Dana's position, does he support the fighter who won, or does he, like, say, no, this is not what we do here, like, we fight in the ring?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, taking that drama, what does he do with it, you know? Like, does he... I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain because I feel like it's really not right for people to be fighting outside the ring and being all
you're not
dangerous
supposed to. That's
and
super
stuff like that.
Against the rules.
But then again, it's like free publicity if the fighters are going to do it, you know? Like, so this is why he's in a really tough spot, and that's where the politics of it come in. So... I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, the UFC definitely has politics. That's pretty crazy. And I think politics have been a part of fighting for a really long time. I mean, even back in the day with boxing, like, people were betting on boxing so much.
Yeah.
Like politicians were getting into betting on boxers and, you know, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just like we live in such a weird world where like UFC, where it's supposed to be like mixed martial arts fighting in a cage, like it could get so complicated so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quick, but the UFC has been around for a while, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my first thing, and I brought that up first because I don't know much about the UFC, and I was like, okay, let's get this off my chest.
Heck yeah, man.
What do you have?
My first thing is music. And I mean, if you just think music, you also kind of think politics. I mean,
Yeah.
they go hand in hand. And it's been a thing, I mean, since before the Renaissance. I mean, like, the Renaissance music was literally all about, like, everything being new. Like, forget the old music. It's trash. Like, we need to progress. And then you have, like, American folk music trying to promote civil rights. Blues, Black American music. All of that is anti-war, anti-racism. Disco was from Black queers trying to fight for the right for, you know,
being out
same-sex
in open,
marriage. And jazz and swing was all about, like, sexuality and, like, blah blah blah. And, like, then you have the Beatles and Woodstock, where it's like giant political move in music. And the Beatles with anti-establishment, freedom, love. Like, music has always been this huge political thing, and I think that's so beautiful. And it's kind of interesting because, like, anything where human beings are expressing themselves, whether it be art or, you know, makeup or fashion or music or
in a way
anything,
it's
like
their own politics. Yeah.
And I think that kind of harkens back to what we were talking about right before we got into this, is that everything that you do or that you're talking about has your political views in the
mind.
Background.
Yeah.
And it's actually been continued all the way until today. I mean, rap music started in 1982 with The Message from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. And then Public Enemy, the best known political rap group of the 80s and 90s, which they've gotten like so many different accolades for, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then you have like NWA came out, and Death Row Records, and Eminem, Tupac, Biggie, like all these people just like spreading their own political views. And I think that's just like awesome.
I think that's really awesome too. I never even realized, like, I'm a musician, and I don't know why I haven't realized that.
It's so beautiful.
Everyone, when they make their music, it stands for something for them, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, if you're not making music, or if you're making music and you're not putting yourself into it, I don't know what you're doing.
With even think about the music that you grew up listening to, like reggae. Like, think Bob Marley. What was he all about?
Oh yeah,
politics, anti-establishment, pro-choice,
I never even thought about
fighting
that.
the man, Black Lives Matter kind of stuff.
One light, one love.
Punk rock is like the whole thing behind punk rock is anarchy.
It's like, fuck the rules.
Yeah, no rules.
It's all about how I feel.
It's actually interesting because punk rock is, a lot of the people were viewed and still are viewed as leftists. So like democratic, which is interesting. I didn't really realize that, but they brought that into the view when I was researching it. And from reggae and punk, you get ska, where you have like Sublime and like all these other groups. And it's like, it's beautiful how like all the politics, like they spark new genres, or like this new genre starts a new thing, and then that has a different type of politics behind it. Yeah,
definitely.
One of the most recent forms of politics in music was the most recent huge in the media was This Is America by Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. And that actually sparked a huge hit back from other countries doing like, this is this is France, this is Saudi Arabia. Like, a lot of countries came out with their own version of the song.
Wow.
To like portray like what is like the hardship of their country.
That's deep.
Yeah, dude, it's
That's
really
cool. I didn't even know that.
It's awesome. You like, after this I'll show you all the videos. It's like really, really cool. It's like the same song basically, but they'll like make it
They'll
about
make it
their
themselves, like for
exactly.
themselves.
And they always have
Wow.
a video with it too. If you've seen Donald Glover's This Is America video, each one of these people who have done their own version for their country has actually come out with a cinematic to go with their
That's
song.
really cool.
It's so cool.
That makes me so happy.
Right?
That
And,
like
he sparked such a huge movement. It's awesome.
and not just that, like music just sparks a movement. Like
yes.
using that expression to talk about things such as the whole This Is America thing.
Yep.
Like I think that's really powerful. And I never thought, like, I knew in the back of my mind, like, yes, music is powerful, but you can like make it as powerful as you want it to be. You know?
really can.
So
and then
I think that's awesome.
about like that song we were just singing earlier. It's what would you do if your son was at home crying all alone on the bedroom floor and he's hungry?
What would you do?
Yeah.
Get up off my feet.
Quit making tired excuses. That song, like all of these songs are just so like political. It's awesome. And with that, I think we can move to the next one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, like, on the same subject of expression, I wanted to talk about politics and drag.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Okay. So, when I thought about politics and drag, I was thinking of a specific queen. Her name is the Vixen. She was on the latest season 10 of RuPaul's Drag Race. And, like, she uses her drag and that platform to talk about political things and like bring up the whole like in the ghettos it's hard to get out of there.
That's
and
why
like,
they call it a trap.
Yeah. And she's like really big on that. She comes from Chicago.
One of the biggest traps in America today.
So like I think that's really cool that she does that. And although I wasn't the biggest fan of her on RuPaul's Drag Race, I think
she's
that's really awesome. Yeah, she's a little fiery. She even said when she walked in, "I'm here to fight."
Yeah.
And you know, she did. So
yeah, she fought.
I mean, at least she kept her word. Yeah. But I was thinking of drag and like researching and whatnot, and I didn't realize how political it has been since the beginning. Like if you think about the Stonewall Inn, the incident that happened there.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, it's like drag queens were throwing bricks at police, I think. I can't think of it right now. I just looked it up.
You're right.
And like the first UK Pride March and how drag queens just were out there and were like fighting for LGBTQ.
Walking the streets.
Before it was even like a really prevalent.
Before it was cool. Yeah.
And it's just like amazing how drag queens have been fighting for their right to party. You know what I mean?
Gotta fight, Bennett, for your right to party.
So that's like really deep in itself. But I want to talk about RuPaul and what he has done for the community. Like, I am a proud supporter of the LGBTQ community.
Same. And
so, like, I don't want someone who is part of that group to, like, take it the wrong way. Like, oh, you don't know. Like, you're straight and all that. It's just, like, I don't know. I just want to talk about it. And RuPaul's amazing. Like...
yeah, he's a cool guy.
I really love how he uses his show as a platform for drag queens to get more attention to what they're doing. Yeah. So with that, they get more gigs, they get more events. Like they can do so much more in their realm, in their field.
Yeah. So many connections.
You know, it's such a suppressed group already, and I just think that he decided to share his success with other people. Yeah. And I think that's so like awesome.
Honorable.
And yes, very honorable, like not greedy at all. Like I think that's awesome. And then on top of that, he uses his show to be like kind of like a life coach in a way. Yeah,
and he also includes politics.
Yes.
It's actually really interesting.
In some of the episodes he'll be like, oh, here's the states person here.
Remember to vote.
And remember to vote. Like, go to this website and vote. and stuff like that. And something I thought was really interesting, that RuPaul got really upset when Donald Trump won.
Yeah.
Like, I forget what tweet he put out, but after he got elected, Donald Trump,
After
like,
RuPaul got elected.
yeah, in March, I'd say, like, so that's how many months after, whatever. But
Numbers.
he was still upset about it, but he was like, you know, I know what's my purpose now. Like, I've gotten my strength back. I know what I'm fighting for now. And it's just so cool that RuPaul has always, you know, somehow felt like that.
Fight for,
yeah. And so, like, I was talking about, like, life coach for, like, young LGBTQ people out there. Like, it's so cool that he has a show to, like, talk to them, you know, not just like cool. That group, but other people too who struggle. Like, I've learned so much from RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, there's something for everyone to learn on that show. But yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool.
He brought politics into his show, and it's all about, you know, love is love is love is love.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Cameron Michaels.
Direct quote. Speaking of learning, school districts.
Ooh.
So, like, okay. Basically, it makes sense that schools and politics go hand in hand because they're public schools, and therefore, you're basically paying for public schools with your tax money. And so, you know, whatever. If everyone went to a public school, it'd be super expensive. Lots of people would be ignorant and, you know, uneducated, which is true today, but it would be a lot worse. But
if everyone went?
If everyone had to go to public school, a lot of people can't afford public school. So, I mean, not public, but private school.
Oh, I was about to be like,
So, yeah, if everyone had to go to public school, private school, God damn it. Welcome to Drunk on Knowledge. So, districts are divided based on the number of people, incomes, and etc. And each district will have a superintendent. So, we were kind of talking about this yesterday. A superintendent, their salary is based off of the number of students in their district, between 500,000 to 1 million students or something like that. So those people get paid on average, this could be higher, but $211,000 to $260,000 a year.
That's a good chunk of change right there.
That is a good chunk of change, and that's just the superintendents. That's not the cabinet level, like, representatives that sit in the White House. Yeah. So those people are making a huge chunk of change. Mm-hmm. And then you have your teachers who make between $38,000 and $58,000, and that's based off of a year, yeah, and that's based off of how many hours they work, what certifications they have, what they're involved in. Like, there's so much that goes into it. Whereas the superintendents is based on how many students that, by the way, they don't see. They never meet these students.
Like, I don't know the job of a superintendent or whatnot, so I'm not, like, trying to, like, hella bash on them, but teachers put in work.
Yeah, they put in work. They raise your kid.
Yeah.
They teach your kid. Like, what the heck? So why are they getting paid so little? I don't know.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they have, like, you know, they do the after school hours because someone needs to retake a test. Exactly. They do the before school hours. They buy the supplies that they need in their classroom. Like, there's so much, and it's just like, why are they only getting paid that much? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. And why are they getting paid so much or so little when everything about education is for profit? Your tutoring is for profit. School management is for profit. Supplies, books, college, private school. The list goes on and on of, like, everything is for profit. There's no reason why teachers should be getting paid this little for raising your children for 6 hours a day and then also teaching them 8 hours now. Yeah.
For some,
yeah. Or even more, because some of these teachers have to be a coach because that's how they get by, because you get paid to be a coach.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes me so sad because I've known some really nice teachers.
Yeah.
Who like are so dedicated.
Yeah.
And like they don't even care about the money. And it's just like, but that sucks because like who can live off of that?
Yeah.
You know? So it just makes me sad. But
I mean, if you got 2 teachers in a household and they were doing well as teachers on the high end, you'd be living comfortably.
yeah.
But that usually doesn't happen for the first few years. You know, that's after 10 years of being a teacher.
Yeah.
That you get to that level, and it really, really sucks.
So yeah, there's like politics in that, you know.
Yeah.
The whole
you literally have to vote on levies.
Yeah.
People that vote just came up recently, and I mean, I voted for public education because that's my personal view, and you guys can think whatever you want, but like children need to be educated. Knowledge is power. We need to be teaching people stuff. And so that's just where that's
what we advocate
politics
for.
Yeah. Right here. But yeah. So yeah.
Ooh, you getting heated?
A little bit.
What's
I'm
going
getting a little
on?
hot. I gotta take off my jacket. So yeah.
Maybe we should move on before Andrew like
start
pops a vein or something in his neck from like getting too mad.
From screaming.
So I want to talk about a subject that's
really dear to your heart.
Not dear to my heart, but like a little ridiculous and whatnot. So for those of you out there who don't know my ethnicity, I am from Guam.
She's Indian.
Rude. I'm from Guam, which makes me Chamorro. That's what our people are called. Mm-hmm. And Chamorros are known for their parties, their big parties all the time. Having parties, right?
Yeah.
So I see the politics in the parties.
There's politics in parties, but also there's politics in family.
There's politics in family. Yeah, like you don't even have to be Chamorro to know this.
Yeah.
Like, so the way that I'm talking about there's politics in parties is, something recently that happened. My grandma was all like, oh, yeah. I'm not going to this party because they didn't come to mine, so I'm not going to theirs. And like, it's petty very like 1,000. That. Yeah, I see it as very petty, but whatever. Like, oh, they only gave my granddaughter $20. Well, I'm only going to give their granddaughter $20, even though like we're really good friends or whatnot. Like, they hold on to those kind of things. Like when we get gifts at parties, they write it down and they like, so they know when the next person's party came by, they know what they got whoever and can like give the appropriate gift. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just think that's really interesting that Chamorro people hang on to that kind of stuff like really tight.
That is pretty interesting.
I don't know. I'm really relaxed with all that. I don't really care.
I appreciate that you are.
I don't know. I'd rather waste my time other places. But yeah, could you not eat Tic Tacs while we're trying to podcast?
No, we're sponsored now. I'm just kidding.
I wish.
Same.
But the way that it can be with families, it's like, oh, it's kind of the same thing. Like, oh, you didn't show up to this. Well, I'm not going to go to this. Or, oh, you only brought bread to the family gathering. Well, next time you have a family gathering, I'm only bringing crackers. Like, I don't know. It can get pretty petty pretty quick. And that's kind of like politics. That's, yeah. You rub my back, I rub yours. Like,
yeah.
What can you do for me? And I can do that for you too. And I don't know. I just think, I think that was a funny thing to bring up, thinking about politics in certain places. And that was like Chamorro parties. And so, I don't know.
No, that's a good example, especially like, because that's not just parties, that's the family. Mm-hmm. And I think that politics and family can also be transferred to politics and friendships.
Oh, yes.
Because, you have to divvy up your time between all these people that you care about. And so it's like, which one is going to get me further? Which one is going to make me feel good today? Or, which one is going to like, well, you know what I mean? Like,
watch out, all of Andrew's friends.
No. God dang it. But just like, because there is politics that go into it, no matter like
whether you're
how
conscious
true
of it or
friend
not.
You are, it's just there is subconscious politics.
Yeah. And like you're going to hang out with a friend that you feel the most comfortable and like the most happy with. It's always going to be like that. So, yeah, I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, any relationship has politics in it, and I think that's really interesting. And it kind of sucks, but like I think that's one of the kind of the points behind this podcast is to make you more aware of it, so that you're not being too political.
Too political, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. The next big one is that I have is construction. Construction gets political in a lot of ways, and you wouldn't think that it does at first, at base level. But like your building zones, your permits, there's laws and regulations. All of that is decided within your state's politics, whether that be at, by your representative, or there's lots of
there's regulations and all that for every state.
LNI,
yeah.
Unions has their own whole
Oh,
politics
yeah.
to it. And then there's unions versus, residential construction, and residential construction has its own politics behind it. You have your business relationships, and that's a whole new level of
That's
politics.
what I was thinking of when you were talking about construction and politics, because a lot of it, like your company that you work with, it's all about word of mouth, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all about who you know.
Yeah, and that's a huge political game. An example of politics in a building is all the new homes have wine cellars. And why? For resale value. Resale value is
I didn't even think about it that way.
Like, why do they do, X amount of rooms or bathrooms,
square footage, open floor plans,
exactly,
all that kind of stuff.
All for resale value. The global the global financial climate plays a huge part in construction, and that's where you get into your materials, tariffs, which has been hitting the construction industry a lot this year. Literal political deals and bribes that go on. For example, in 1971, the New York City 421 tax program that wanted low-cost housing, it did really well for the first few years, and then politicians decided it was favoring contractors too much, and they took it away. Suddenly, $35 rent went up to $1,600 rent by 1980. That's less than 10 years.
Wow.
So
yeah, and it's getting higher and higher.
Exactly.
As the years go by.
So it's a huge political game. We have, basically the big guys are ruling the little guys, and that's not something that's new to people. It's just something that people don't want to look at. It's escapism. They don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to like mention it.
Yeah, it's crazy where we live right now.
Let's just sweep it under the rug and talk about it save it for another day.
I mean, just think about like the rent around here in Spanaway or in LA. Like,
oh my God,
I can't afford to live. You know,
even in just Seattle.
In Seattle, it's terrible. But like I was saying, here in Spanaway, we have a deal here where we're paying.
We have a steal.
$11.25, but right up the street, in a set of brand new ones for
brand new apartments. We live in duplexes, and then the apartments. We checked the rent there
for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
It was like $1,400 to $1,700.
It was $1,400 to $1,700.
Like,
and
what?
Here we have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
We have a yard. We have a garage.
And it's only
big. Yeah, so it's like,
we're in a trap.
How?
Honestly.
Like, how is it so expensive? It's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's a bunch of balagna.
But getting back into some fun politics.
Oh yeah, let's end on a good note.
Politics and hair.
Oh well, it's not. That's not like the greatest note.
It's not the greatest note.
No.
But it was pretty interesting. I was getting into it a little bit. I didn't get to do as much research as I wanted to, but politics and hair has been a thing for a long time. But some recent examples were Emma Gonzalez. She was protesting after the Stoneman Douglas High School shootings a while back, and she was protesting for stricter gun control. So she shaved her head, but it gets political even more because on her school's Instagram she said it was just because it was prom was coming up and she didn't want to have to deal with doing her hair.
Wow. Shit, just shave all of it off.
Yeah. Another example is model Ruth Bell. We have Rose McGowan. one of the biggest examples is female soldiers in Black Panther. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't want to try and say the name of
The
the
soldiers. Yeah.
soldiers. um, excuse me, but all these women are doing it. I was reading because there's different reasons, but I mean, all the way from you're more powerful, you seem more wise,
Yeah. Yeah. So like as a
and
girl, I can see how they would say that kind of stuff because there's a lot of power that goes into your hair, especially how I grew up. It's always like, "Oh yeah, keep your hair long. Your hair is so
hmm
beautiful. It's what defines you." Like it
yeah,
makes and I definitely feel that. Like sometimes I don't even like putting my hair up because I feel like my hair down makes me look so pretty and like the thought of cutting all my hair off it gives me anxiety because
hmm
there's just so much power in it, and that's what I think what they're talking about with whole like the shaving the hair kind of thing. It
yeah,
strips away that like feminine part of you that people find so like intriguing and beautiful and make them like listen to what you say
yeah,
and what you're talking about. It's like a big like, whoa, what the hell? She's bald, you know?
yeah,
So I think that's why a lot of these women are portrayed like this
hmm
or they shave their head.
yeah. It was actually saying something similar too, but there was another example of why people do it, where it's disrupting man's gaze. Actually, that's exactly what you were just talking
Yeah,
about.
so it's like
It's just different
for
words.
for men, let's be real. It's mostly like for men because it's all about sexualizing women
Yeah, men just like
and
sexualize everything on women. Hair, feet,
everything.
hands,
Yeah,
arms. Just like it's crazy. It just
it's so dumb.
because they're people too, It's just wow. But not only females shaving their head, but drag queens are shaving their head now. There's an actual term. It's called an egg queen. I think that's hilarious, but um, they do it for all kinds of reasons. I mean, Sasha Velour did it to
Love
bring
her.
attention to her mother, and wasn't it cancer?
Yeah, her mom
Um,
died from cancer,
and then
and
just speaking about cancer, people shaving their heads in support of cancer, in
yeah,
support of, whatever it may be. It's a huge political move to shave your head
yeah.
if you do it for politics. I mean, not everyone shaving their head is having a political opinion, but
Maybe they just wanted to shave their head. I don't
exactly,
know. Girl, do you?
exactly. Um, but an example of hair in politics in years gone by, um, under different dynasties in China,
Ooh, bringing
um,
it back.
there was
Hella back.
actually like literally, if you had your hair a certain way, you were either conforming or non-conforming.
Wow.
Does that make sense? So under, I forget the dynasties. I'll have to look it up real quick. It'll pop up right when I look it up. But basically, like,
According to your hairstyle, you.
yeah. So like they had some pretty wild hairstyles, and you've probably seen them like on the one that comes to mind for me is Sagwa.
Oh my god, I
Um,
thought of the same thing.
so we have, let's see,
Andrew
Chinese hair
can't
politics.
can't type and talk at the same time. He's
That's
gonna look it
fine.
up.
So under the, oh my god,
I'll link something so like people can understand what we're talking about.
yeah,
So
the under the Ming Dynasty, long uncut and bound hair, so a man bun, was showing social control, Confucian filial piety. So just like being like a really cool guy. If you cut your hair or you like shaved it all off, that meant you were antisocial. You didn't like your parents. You were uncivilized. You were barbarian for having a shaved head. After that, the Qing Dynasty is where like that sagwa kind of hairstyle comes in, where it's shaved in the front and then really really
hella
long
long in
and
the
braided
back.
in the back.
I
Um,
like that. I don't know why.
it's really cool. It's different.
Yeah.
And so uh, that's when, if you have that hairstyle, you're socially accepted. But if you have full hair or short hair, anything differing from that hairstyle, you are anti government, all kinds of stuff. And then you have Republic of China, which is after their revolution until 1912. Short hair meant you were controlled, and if you had shaved or long hair, or even the shaved in the front and long in the back, any of that, you were a loyalist to the former king dynasty, and you were to be,
That makes sense.
like, shunned.
What I want to know is who made this shit up back in the day? Like,
The
let's do our really.
The emperors, yeah.
Oh my God, they were like, "Yo, do your hair like this, and I know you a real one."
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that insane?
I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, if you even think like back in the day, what's it called when you scalping people?
What?
Like scalping people, taking their scalp.
Excuse me?
That was like a huge like move. Like,
wow.
if you were really really mad at someone, like they killed your whole family,
You'd scalp them?
your goal was to scalp them.
Oh, to like strip them from their hair, or like ever getting hair ever again?
That, and sometimes they would kill you and scalp you anyways to like show like you killed that person.
And like hold their hair and stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like they were crazy back in the day. I don't know if you've heard it, but like we're getting a little morbid, but like the original form of like dodgeball was in China, and they would take decapitated heads and like.
No, stop. That's so bad.
Isn't it crazy? But anyways.
We said we are going to end on a good note.
Yeah, hair. It's great.
Oh, and by the way, if like I feel like I sounded really nasally, and I'm really starting to now. I'm like getting over a sickness, so.
No worries. Didn't you have one more politics thing?
I mean,
let's talk about politics and religion. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's for a whole nother podcast.
Speaking of religion, we just had a bunch, 3 elders from the Church of the Latter-day Saints in our home yesterday, and they were shedding some light on stuff. And I'm actually getting back into studying religions a little bit now. Like, I really think that's cool. So you might be hearing more about religion on here. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah, but this was a really fun podcast. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Stuff like this.
I hope you guys learned something. Like we always say, drunk on knowledge is about having conversations, learning things from them. You hearing us talk is teaching you something. I don't know if it was about the Chinese hair politics.
I really hope
so. If it was about the music stuff, like you never thought about politics and music. If you never thought about the MMA stuff, hopefully you learned something. And if you did, please let us know. And if you didn't, shout us out something so we can, tell it to other people. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do another podcast. We're getting a lot better at this. And we're growing a little bit. So thanks for joining us.
Yes,
it's been
thank
awesome.
you.
Until next time, peace out.
Goodbye.